Hi, I'm Hainbach. It's good to have you back. Before we get started with this Q&A, I've got an announcement to make. This month there will be not one, but two new music software releases in which I am involved in. And one will be on iOS and the other will be a VST AUAXX or AXX, whatever the Pro Tools format is called. But I'll be dropping hints what these will be throughout this video. So you might want to watch it through the end if you're interested in something beautifully weird and something you have all wished for some time now. So let's get started with the Q&A. If you don't know what this is, every month the good people that support what I do on Patreon can ask a question and I will try to answer it as best as I can here on camera. And if you want to get a question, you just have to sign up to any tier on my Patreon and see the sticky post for the questions. Let's start. Jason Steyanchi. I love your sounds you get with the Seat Lombardo Plumbutter. I was wondering how you use the blue jacks with the mixer. I often use them, but have a hard time anticipating their effects. Any advice? Seat Lombardo Plumbutter, the drum and drama machine. I love this instrument. Oh, and I put Velcro behind it that sticks to me. It sticks like this. No, I wouldn't dare. So, the blue jacks, these are here with the mixer. And I love to put external sources in here. For example, from, something like the Z-Drugs. So I got oscillations going on in here, and those will somehow audulate, modulate, ring modulate with the sources that are present here from the mixer itself. Or I tend to run stuff like slow envelopes from the Coco Quantas in here, not envelopes but LFOs, and that also gives nice results. Or one of the nicest tricks is using yellow out, I think, yes, from the ultrasounds, and using that to modulate any source, and that gives it glittery shine, which I really enjoy. That's just some tips, but basically this can be used to patch in external signals, mix them, and add them with the internal Plumbutter sounds. Frank Boons. I'm interested in the early digital sound quality, such as you get from a Digitech PDS delay looper pedal. Do you have any suggestions for recording devices that produce of recorded sound? Well, first of all, there might be something coming in that regard that will satisfy your needs. So that was already the first hint. But what I really like is, Boss, basically, old Boss pedals. They've got these they've got these small half-rack units, which are great. And then there is the SP H, is that one? The blue harmonizer pedal, the old one, that sounds perfectly early digital. Great vibe to it, absolutely lovely. So, but if you don't want to go vintage, Coco Quantas, the answer to everything, because that sounds very gritty digital and in its own way it's pretty unique. Or you can just wait a little bit and there will be something, with a mode of early digital. Sergei Kataev. You frequently get devices for review, and you always make music with it in the video with review. I understand there's a lot of new cool stuff, but imagine you can't use everything all the time. Which devices you use the most out of those you got for review for more than one project? The pedal I used the most is the Specular Tempest by GFI Systems. I've been playing that live, I used it in my landfill totems, and that pedal has been one of the most used effects after I got it sent. I didn't even make a review about it, but just magical thing. The Make Noise Morphogene, which I need to repair because I broke the SD card in there, which is kind of bad placement for an SD card, but that aside. No, I used that a whole lot. The Moog Subharmonicon has become a fixed part in my modular setup over there, and I just love playing it, and it only gets better the longer I play with it. It that has been such a surprise, and it's a beautiful instrument. The Synthrax by AKAI has become an essential part of my studio. It's an instrument that every time I sit down at my table to make music always finds its way. It's just pleasurable to use. Trey Milner, when finding obscure test equipment, how do you know if it's capable of manipulating music sounds? How do you overcome the odd input connector issues and confidently say, this can process incoming audio and split it back out just by looking at it? Oh, there's a lot of tells, like all the connectors now are basically known to me. Most of them can be summed up with banana or BNC, and I've got all adapters now for that. And I can say, if you need adapters, perakabel.de in Germany, that's perakabel.de, has got you covered for most of your adapter needs. I buy a lot from them. Thing is to look for if there's something written in hertz. If it just says somewhere hertz or cycles, then you know, oh, okay, this might be meant for audio rate. And already I know, okay, this is something that can be listened to. And then if there's something that says analyzer, oftentimes that means it's a bandpass filter, because analyzer just meant looking at something closely, and what was employed was a bandpass filter. And bandpass filters are very productive musically. But oftentimes it's also it's a guessing game, and I'm happy for every time I see a good quality picture upload on eBay, because yeah, then I can zoom in and see this might not. And one thing that I tend to absolutely avoid is if a unit has huge fans in the back, because yeah, fans in the studio are not a nice thing. You get used to the noise and then you stop hearing the noise in your in your recordings that you make, because yeah, your brain is masking it over and you end up with noisy recordings, which is something I don't like. So there I skip usually. But if I had adhered to that 100%, I wouldn't have found the saddest drone machine. So it is trial and error and trying to buy cheap, and I only spend more on units that I will absolutely know that will music, such as, yeah, I got a second EG&G Park lock-in amplifier here, the 124A. I made a video on that, and it's so good I just had to have two, especially in good condition. Even though it started to smell when I turned it on, should probably recap it, but yeah, it works. Gator. Have you heard of AKAI Modular? I even tried it. It's my main modular synth, and it's really a lot of fun. I think I've heard of it, but I think, isn't that the tiny one? AKAI Modular? Ah, yeah, that's tangible waves, right? Yeah, that has one thing that I really don't like, and that's these tiny cables. I tried it with some synths to use these tiny cables, and it's just too frustrating. So that is something I know I will never touch, because I can't deal with these tiny cables. Kobe Anderson. Most of us are partially familiar with sampling, as well as subtractive, granular wavetable and FM synthesis when it comes to sculpting our sounds. But if you had the ability of creating a new form of synthesis sound generation, what might that new form of synthesis sound generation look like, and more importantly, sound like? I think I would keep it a secret and develop it first, and not just talk about it openly. If I had a really new idea. I mean, there's so much stunning stuff coming out all the time that is, if you look in the fringes of academic research, if I dreamt up a new form of synthesis, I would probably NDA myself and write myself an own non-disclosure agreement until it's done. Michael Southard. Do you use your Hyve Synth anymore? I just picked one up and wondered if you have any tips on how you get the most out of it. The Hyve is a small touch synthesizer that came out mostly as a DIY kit, but also somewhere assembled. And yeah, I don't think there were great numbers produced beyond the initial Kickstarter, but it is a lovely instrument that I truly enjoy. And I haven't touched it in a while, but I remember memorizing where everything is was very crucial. And of course, a ton of effects slathered on it helps a lot. I think one of my favorite with it was the AMA reverb by AC Noises. So it's a mixture of really learning to play it and yeah, having hands that are not too dry, or if you're a guitar player, to crust it over with what do you call it, calluses, and then you memorize it and start playing it. But I think it really shines with effects because it has this rather direct organ sound, which is nice with all the overtones, but can be a bit too direct sometimes. So that's what I would suggest. Yeah, learn it, add effects. David Wallen. Hi, I've got an AKAI S1000 sampler that I don't really know what to do with. Are there any creative ways to use this machine for anything at all? Or does it have any nice sound artifacts to take advantage of? I don't have one, so you could try stuff with it, try extreme pitch shifting with it, try do you really like it when everything is really slowed down on it? Does it add a lovely aliasing effect? Does it give you what we talked earlier about, that old digital sound? Is that something unique, or do you just prefer the more clean and yeah, super high fidelity sound of modern libraries and modern samplers? So that's something you have to judge for yourself. It might just be fun to have a set of sounds that you really like in there and have readily available without turning on the computer. But not knowing the AKAI S1000, I can't really say. You have to really explore yourself if there's something worth it by maybe overdriving it on the input. Is that something nice when you record something hot in there? When you go to the extremes, artifacts, will there happen? So that's all I can suggest for that. Nate Jack. Hey Hainbach, I just bought a Uher Royale Deluxe 10,000. Recording into it sounds fantastic, but getting audio out of it is problematic, being very low in volume. Oh? Really? Usually these tape machines are really loud, so they put out a good oomph, so I don't know if something's broken with yours. Could you speak a little more about interfacing older tape machines with digital system, impedance levels, and the different kinds of DIN German adapters? I don't think there's many different DIN adapters, so I just got the regular one that I always like. In the subreddit there's many threads about German DIN adapters and where you can find them in the US and everywhere else, so go to the subreddit for more about DIN adapters. So there's just the standard one and then goes out to all these outs and ins, so, and that's something you can pick up in any electronics store here in Germany because yeah, they're very common. So using that works well, but I don't know if the output volume being low on your is a thing with your tape machine, because in my experience these machines tend to would rather overdrive any normal like -10 consumer input on a sound card, and I would have to use +4 decibels, and when I use my professional machines I have to put in a pad. So a -20 decibel pad, because it will else overdrive the audio interface. So it might be something wrong with the output on your machine and not something else. Not knowing the Uher 10,000, I can't tell you. But yeah, my Uhers, I've got one, I've got the report monitor 4000, hot. So no need to do too much to it. You could add a mic preamp and see if that gives you enough clean signal, or if it just amplifies all the noise also. Bobby Kudlich. Hello Hainbach, I have a question regarding delays. Which analog delay pedals can you recommend for drum sounds? You would help me a lot. Thanks. Oh, there's an answer by another patron. Tyler Rauman says, the best delay is the one you got. I used the carbon copy for a long time and it's a beautiful dark delay for cheap. Well, yeah, I haven't tried the carbon copy, but I think the Mini Foger drive, the Mini Foger delay, that's really good for drums because it stops at like 2 kilohertz, 1 kilohertz, so you don't really get the hi-hats, but you can echo only the lower sounds. And then you can use a clean digital delay with some kind of filter to get only the hi-hats. So you already get a very dubby feeling going on, and that's pretty good. And if you can find one, the Memory Man Deluxe, the old one, the boxy one, that's great on almost everything, also on drums. But yeah, mini Foger delay, really good. I don't know if they still make these. I think they discontinued the whole mini Foger line. But yeah, that's a really, really nice one for drums, I think, if you go on in the pedal row. I haven't tried many other analog delays, to be honest, in pedals, because, yeah, I've always wanted a Memory Man. Yeah. Oh well, someday. I think that's already it. Thank you all for your questions. I hope I answered them at least to some of your satisfaction. If you watching right now have got a question you would like answered on video, just subscribe to any tier on my Patreon and post in the sticky thread every month. I'm pretty excited for what's coming this month because I love putting tools that are either new or incredibly rare, or both, in your hands to play with. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun month, at least here on this channel. So thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. And thanks to everybody who supports what I do on Patreon. You are the reason I can keep on making videos. Bye bye.